Few professional athletes, especially NBA players, have been as outspoken against human rights violations across the globe as Enes Freedom. He's spoken out against some of the most brutal regimes in the world, including China, a massive financial backer of the NBA, and the government's human rights violations against Uyghur Muslims. He's even spoken out against his home country's government in Turkey, leaving him stateless and in fear for his safety for a period of time. Enes Kanter changing his last name to Freedom after becoming an American citizen last year. Enes Freedom's strong stance for human rights has caught the attention of the human rights organization Hardwired Global. Their mission, empowering leaders to advance human rights for all. Enes Freedom recently received the Hardwired for Freedom Award for Human Rights Advocacy. And joining us now, professional athlete, human rights activist Enes Freedom, alongside the founder and president of Hardwired Freedom Global, Tina Ramirez. Thank you both so much for coming on. Really excited to have this conversation. It's an important one. I know, Enes, you are no stranger to being in the public eye. Of course, you found plenty of success on the basketball court. But what did it mean to you to be honored with this award?
Of course, first of all, thank you for having us. And of course, it was an honor. First time I heard about their Hardwired mission, I got so excited and I immediately called my manager. I was like, let's do this, you know? And I do want to give huge shout out to Hardwired family, Tina, Victoria, and everyone who's behind the curtains working so hard to stand up for what's right. And it was a beautiful moment. I made some really cool friends actually. And it was that for me had so much fun. So I was honored.
Oh, that's great to hear. Tina, I got to ask, why was Enes the right choice for this honor?
Well, at Hardwired, we believe that everybody is hardwired for freedom, but no one exemplifies that more than Enes. I mean, just as you shared earlier, from his stance against Turkey and the impact on his own family, losing his ability to even see his family again in Turkey because of his stance standing up against the government and their dictatorial rule in Turkey, but also then in China. I mean, people are literally having their organs harvested in China. And he had the guts to stand up and to say something, the courage. And for that, because of all the money that the NBA, gives to China, or the involvement of China and just our NBA, he literally got blackballed. And so no one exemplifies this courage, the empathy for people who are literally just losing their most fundamental freedom around the world than Enes. And so we are honored to be able to support him and his foundation and to be able to really honor him. And we want more people to be able to stand up for freedom, especially in America. I mean, we often don't think how often people have to lose their own livelihood for simply standing up for freedom. And yet he did. And we want to be able to honor him and the work that he's doing around the world.
You know, it's so easy to just go along with the crowd and not speak out, not say anything, not ruffle any feathers. But Enes, you're not afraid to criticize, as Tina was pointing out, the Chinese government. But also you're critical of even the NBA and NBA star LeBron James. You've accused James of bowing down to China's authoritarian regime. Why did you feel it was time to speak out?
Because I was seeing the hypocrisy. I played in the NBA for the last 11 years, and I was seeing that how they will stand up for the things until it affects their money and business. It was unacceptable for me, because human is human. It doesn't matter here or somewhere around the world. And people need to understand, while I was dribbling the ball in America, on the other side of the world, people are losing their loved ones, and losing their hopes, losing their homes. So it was bigger than basketball, bigger than myself, and bigger than NBA. So that's why I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm just gonna go out there. And I know it's gonna be very uncomfortable. I know it's gonna come with a lot of consequences and backlash from some of the people, but this is the right thing to do, because this is bigger than basketball.
Yeah, Tina, when you hear from pro athletes, their focus is, of course, what's happening on the court, bettering themselves when it comes to their athletic ability. The fact that Enes is willing to sacrifice that and really speak out against, China, the government there. What was that like? And talk to me about, the fact that this is pretty uncommon for an athlete to be willing to do something like this.
Well, it's extremely uncommon. I think that's such a good point. And one of the things that we shared when we gave him the award, and people can find that on our website at Hardwired Global, but was that I've worked in over 30 different countries where people are losing their most fundamental freedom, and where the ability to speak out is a life and death reality for them. And when someone like Enes speaks up for them and mentions their name, stands in their defense, they might not be quite as tortured as they would have been had they not been remembered, had they not been spoken out for. And I think that that's what people take for granted so often. And there are so many people in America with a platform. And yet how many do we see using it like Enes is, where he lost his livelihood, where he lost his family? I mean, this just doesn't happen. And we should see more and more people, you know, in the entertainment industry standing up for people that are losing their most fundamental freedom of conscience, of belief, no matter who they are, where they live, what background they're from. And that's the kind of courage that Enes has. And we're just so honored to be able to work with him. We want more people to be able to stand up. And, you know, the work that he's doing with basketball camps around the country and around the world to bring people together, to have that most fundamental freedom to speak up for what they believe. We need more people doing that kind of work. And so we're just honored to be able to stand with him. And we want more people to be inspired by this award and by his courage and to get behind him.
Sports really does bring people together, right? You can come from all different backgrounds, have all different views, but when you're playing on the same team, you have one goal, and that is to bring home the victory. And as I have to ask you about some NBA news, they announced this week that there are going to be no games set for Election Day, of course, November 8th. Tell me about that. How do you view that decision?
You know, I think it's a great idea. I think people need to go out there and vote, and NBA pushing for it. But the problem is NBA will encourage you to vote for a certain party. I have so many coaches and players and so many people are feeling so uncomfortable because who they vote for or who they cheer for. You know, I remember whenever I go out and attend this conservative the media, I was getting those dirty looks from my teammates and from my organization. And I remember so many of my coaches were coming up to me and whispering in my ear because they didn't want to say it out loud because they knew if they did, they will get harassed the rest of the season. They were saying, "Hey, man, I saw you on this channel. I saw you on this newspaper. Me and my family support you. Keep doing what you're doing." And I was like, "Why are you whispering to me?" And they said, "Well, we just don't want to get harassed because the environment that we live in." And I was like, I cannot believe this, Yeah. So it is an amazing idea, but the problem is they will push you to only vote for a certain party, and that is unacceptable. You cannot do that in America.
It takes courage to speak out about your own views, even if they might not be popular or in the mainstream. Yeah. And we appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts. And congratulations, of course, on this award, Enes Freedom and Tina Ramirez. We appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.